Thank you. I actually, for myself, wanted to share some experiences that I've had with manifestations. For my longest time, it was my desire to become successful. For many years, I pursued that. And then I reached a point where it didn't matter anymore. And I think it had something to do with you just talking about the train. I stopped pulling in the other direction.
Well, it isn't that it doesn't matter anymore. It's that you condition yourself to the experience of it not working, or it not moving in the way that you want it to, becomes a more dominant part of your thought process. And then you sort of just give in to what is.
Once I let it go, it took off. It's like the door's open.
You see, here's the thing that so many don't understand. And in an action-oriented world where you believe that it's what you're doing and that it's the action that you're offering that is making the difference, then effort feels like the factor that you should be applying. While effort often works against what you're wanting. And so if a subject is not of great importance to you, you think less about it. So if you've just offered a soft desire about something, and because it's not so important, so you don't think about it a lot, so you don't stack any more engines going in the opposite direction, it's natural and inevitable that your desire would come to fruition. But when you want it and you think about it and you want it and you discuss it and you want it and you try and you want it and you don't know about lining up energy, so you're contradicting most of your action through thoughts of doubt. Most people, we love you so much. You know what's coming next. You make a mess of your vibration because you're all over the place in what you're observing and saying. And then you try to fix it with action that just isn't powerful enough to make the difference. And then in your exhaustion, you just sort of give up. And what your giving up does is you give up the resistance, because you never give up the desire. You can't give up what you put into your vortex and that your inner being's been working on and got all queued up for you. You can't give this up. You can do one of two things. You can resist it, which is uncomfortable to you, or you can allow it, which is glorious. And so sometimes you have to get a little tired before you give up. Most people have to croak. We just think that's unnecessary. We don't think you should have to croak. We think you ought to be able to give your attention to more things that feel better and deliberately soften your vibration of resistance. That's why we explain things like when you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on, when you're in alignment with who you really are, it's like the cork floating up here on the surface of the water. You can hold it under unnaturally. That's what negative emotion is. But when you let go, it's going to bob back up there. So that's your example of your experience of giving up, was just letting go of the resistance, and then off you go. Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
Yes.
6 years ago, I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. And I've been doing your work since I was diagnosed with that, and things have gotten dramatically better. Really, really much better. Every once in a while, I have an episode of this, something with the PTSD, and I go into this very dark place. And all of a sudden, recently, I was experiencing that, and out of no place, I said to myself, you know what, this is just a dream. This isn't real. And it stopped, just like that.
Well, you focused yourself into alignment with who you are. We want to give you an example of what's going on here. And many of you have heard this story before, but it will feel enough off the subject to you that you will hear it easily, and then you will understand completely what we're saying to you. So a woman is going across the bridges in San Francisco and feeling stress. She said she felt like she wanted to lie on the floorboards of her car. It was so uncomfortable to her, which surprised her because she'd been crossing those bridges for a long time. Even after the earthquakes had brought some of them down, she still didn't have this feeling, but now she's feeling it on the bridge. We said to her, sounds like you've run into some thought forms. The law of attraction is matching you up with some things that are sort of lurking around the bridge. Well, she sure didn't like the idea of that. And we said, most important question is, what's going on in you that has activated something in you that's matching you up with that? She knew right away. Her neighbor had been burglarized. They'd been having meetings trying to decide whether to put a guard in place or barricades on their own windows. So her feeling of vulnerability had been activated by something that happened in the neighborhood. And that activated vulnerability now made her through law of attraction, hook up with other thoughts, because every thought that has ever been thought exists, and they move around your atmosphere like rivers or streams. And when you find a thought that causes an activation within you, then law of attraction can bring you together with some of these things that you can't even articulate. And that really is what this post-traumatic stress syndrome is about. Of course, you experience something that was unthinkable, and so there is the potential of activating that vibration again. The question is, what is it that is activating it? And in time, what happens? When you understand that, as you said, it isn't something that is real right now, and it isn't something that I have to focus on, it isn't something that I have to find harmony with right now, it isn't something that I have to experience right now, you use the power of your mind to focus away from it, and therefore deactivated the vibration within you, and therefore law of attraction could not match you up with that again. Your minds are powerful, and it is so helpful to know. Here's the most important thing. When you say, I'm not going to think about that anymore because it leads me to things that I don't want, or it makes me uncomfortable when I think about it, I'm not going to think about that. You're thinking about that thing that you don't want to think about. And the more you don't want to think about it, the more you're thinking about it. So you can't just cease to think about something. You have to think about something else, because thoughts are not ever going to go away. You're not ever going to rid yourself of the potential of any thought that you've ever thought, or in fact of any thought that anybody's ever thought. Thoughts are out there, but you can think about something else. And when you deliberately think about something else, then you deliberately choose the direction of your vibrational, and you choose the direction of what law of attraction is matching you up with. That's why we so want you to become deliberate in your not desire to think, because that'll make you crazy. If you try to control your thoughts, that's hard. But if you will decide, I want to feel good, and you will more and more reach for good feeling thoughts, then you'll develop more of these patterns, and a momentum takes place. And once that momentum takes place, then it's easier and easier for you to think those thoughts. That doesn't mean that at some point that something might not happen that would cause you to think a thought that you don't want to think. But it's unlikely if you have spent some time. That's why we're talking about step 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, mastery of the direction of your thought. Then in time, you are never vulnerable. You're just sometimes have some momentum going in those directions. For example, if you say, all is well for me, these are positive aspects of my life, engine, engine, engine. But I've had hard times, engine. You introduce resistance, and whatever is active, law of attraction is bringing some of it to you. So the more that you are thinking about things that you would call positive aspects, then just logically, in terms of airtime, you would be giving less attention to what you do not want. It's just logical, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what we want to do is convince you that it matters the way you feel. We don't know anybody that wants anything for any reason other than that they believe in the having of it, they will feel better. And so if you can show yourself, as you have, that you can choose thoughts that feel better, and that as you give your attention to it, you only have to give your attention to a thought for under 17 seconds now. It's closer to 16 seconds. You only have to give your attention to something for 16 seconds for law of attraction to provide another equivalent thought. And when you hold those thoughts for another 16 seconds, then another thought like it joins it, and you get just barely over a minute, and you've got true momentum going. Enough momentum that more and more thoughts are coming, and maybe even manifestations begin to show themselves to you in some way. But the average person does not think a thought for more than 8 or 9 seconds before you contradict it, because you're not focusing with the intention of gaining momentum. You're most focusing with the intention of being objective. I want to consider everything. And we say, really? You really want an engine going that way and an engine going that way? You think that's to your advantage? Well, it makes me more objective. And it makes the people whose engines are going that way like me better. I want to be objective. And we say, really, we don't think that you're really wanting so much to be objective as you're wanting to be the deliberate creator of your own experience. And we think that your objectivity is what has filled your vortex full of what you now know you want. And now it's time for you to allow the universe to yield to you what you've already sifted out. So step one is the time for more objectivity. It gives birth to what you really want. But once it's there, give yourself the opportunity to begin realizing some of it. And then there'll be an opportunity for more contrast and more objectivity. But if you would think entirely, and we know that's asking a lot. In fact, you can't do it. But if you could think mostly, and you can do that, about what you want and why you want it, all the post-traumatic stress syndrome of past experiences of unwanted would become deactivated within you. And everybody's got some of it. In fact, that's what beliefs that don't serve you really are. It's an active thought within you, an active belief within you that you're not doing on purpose. It's an active belief because you're not doing something else.
I understand.
Yeah, you do.
Last thing, I have to thank you and all the work that you've done with us.
You all are doing the work.
Yeah, you facilitate it.
Yeah.
Since I was a child, it was my longest dream to sing. Always wanted to sing all my life. And about a year ago, I started to perform in a cabaret off Broadway in Manhattan. And it's just been wonderful. It's just changed my whole life.
Because your life can't be full of that and that at the same time. You chose something that lines you up.
Oh, yeah.
Really good. We had a lot of conversations here today, and Esther can hardly wait to get her ears on the recording to make notes of the nuggets of things that have never been said before, because there were many. You, because of your intensity, because of who you are, have moved us into a new, stronger place of explaining. And because it is newer, your ability to hear it exactly as we mean it is lagging just barely behind. Just barely behind. But your life experiences over the next immediate days that follow will bring clarity to the important pieces that we've talked about here today. Be playful about it. Don't work hard at anything. Let people who expect you to work hard know that you're over that. Let the people who have been counting on your diligence and effort know that there's something else going on with you. Say to them things like, I'm going to follow my inspiration and I'm going to go to places that are of benefit for me and for you. But I'm just taking a little softer approach to life. And it is our promise to you, this softer approach that you're taking will pay off in not just the manifestational evidence, but in the joyful journey that you're having on your way to the never-ending joyful manifestational evidence. We are in great appreciation for your willingness not just to play with us here in this room, but here on this planet to begin with. We want you to understand that the contribution that you are offering to all that is unspeakable. We cannot find enough words to explain to you the value. But we would like you to leave this gathering knowing, or at least wanting to know, that while you stand here out on this leading edge, that all of us are backing you up, and that you don't have a thought that we are not involved in. And your emotions let you know how deep our involvement with you really is on these things. These are life-changing times. Things are just getting better and better. It will always be so. There is great love here for you. And as always, we remain
in the vortex.